Simone Ellis has survived years of family reunions filled with one exhausting question. When are you finally bringing someone home? This year, she's coming prepared. Her solution is simple. Convince her best friend, Kang Tae-jun, to spend the weekend pretending to be her boyfriend. Tae-jun is handsome, successful, irritatingly composed, and convincing enough to get Simone's family off her back. There is only one problem. 3 years ago, Tae-jun's wolf recognized Simone as his mate. Simone's wolf never recognized him back. So Tae-jun did the only thing he believed he could. He stayed silent and let Simone live her life without the weight of an alpha, a mate bond, or fate deciding her future for her. But one fake relationship, one jealous alpha, one unexpected ex-boyfriend, and one kiss are about to make keeping that secret impossible. Because when Simone's wolf finally wakes up, discovering her mate may be the easy part. Discovering he knew all along could cost Tae-jun the woman he spent 3 years refusing to claim. A Luna's Lair supernatural romance about fake dating, best friends, fated mates, jealousy, trust, and choosing love even when fate got there first. Welcome to Luna's Lair. Simone Ellis had survived 35 years of life, 12 years in commercial development, 3 major construction delays, one relationship that should have ended 6 months earlier than it did, and enough Ellis family reunions to know exactly when trouble was coming. This particular trouble arrived at 10:17 on a Thursday morning in the family group chat. Denise. Just making sure everybody remembers check-in starts tomorrow at 3. Perfectly innocent. Simone continued reviewing the cost projections on her monitor. Her phone buzzed again. Denise. And Simone, baby, I spoke to someone very nice who may be coming Saturday. Simone stopped typing. There it was. She stared at the message for several seconds before slowly reaching for her phone. Simone, Aunt Denise. 3 dots appeared immediately. Denise, what? I didn't say anything. Simone, you literally just said something. Denise, I said he was nice. Simone, who is he? The dots disappeared, then returned. Denise, nobody you need to worry about. Just come looking cute. Simone closed her eyes. Oh, for fuck's sake. Good morning to you too. The deep voice came from the open doorway of her office. Simone didn't bother looking up. Go away. I just got here. Then you're ahead of schedule. Quiet chuckle answered her. That finally made her glance toward the door. Kang Tae-jun stood there with one shoulder resting against the frame, coffee in one hand and a slim folder in the other. He'd abandoned his jacket somewhere between whatever meeting he'd come from and her office, leaving him in charcoal trousers and a fitted black knit shirt with the sleeves pushed casually to his forearms. It was an irritating amount of man for 10 in the morning. 6'3", broad-shouldered and powerfully built, with dark hair falling just enough across his forehead to soften a face that otherwise looked carved specifically to make people reconsider arguing with him. Most wolves lowered their voices when Tae-jun walked into a room. Simone usually told him to get out of hers. His gaze dropped to the phone in her hand. Family? How did you know? You only make that face for family and subcontractors. I have more than one face. You really don't. Simone gave him the finger. His mouth twitched. That was another thing people didn't know about Kang Tae-jun. The alpha could be funny. Not haha, everybody look at me funny. Tae-jun's humor was dry and quiet, and usually delivered with the same expression he used while discussing 8-figure development contracts. Which made it worse. He walked into her office and placed the folder on her desk. Revised projections for Fremont. I already have them. Those are the old revisions. Simone looked at the spreadsheet on her screen, then at the folder. Goddamn it. I'll give you a moment. Don't. To process. I hate you. No, you don't. He said it absently as he took a sip of coffee. Something about the certainty of it made Simone look at him again. Tae-jun was already reading the family messages upside down from where her phone lay beside the keyboard. His brow lifted. Who is very nice? Simone snatched the phone off the desk. Nobody. Apparently someone you need to look cute for. I always look cute. I didn't say you didn't. The response came so easily she nearly missed it. Nearly. Simone narrowed her eyes. Tae-jun drank his coffee. She decided she had imagined the undertone. My aunt is trying to set me up again. Again. Because apparently a 35-year-old unmated woman can't possibly attend a family function without everybody launching a humanitarian intervention. Tragic. Thank you. Have you considered contacting the authorities? Finally, some useful advice. He smiled then, small and devastating. Simone immediately resented his face. She turned back toward her computer. They're going to spend the entire weekend asking if I'm dating. Then somebody's going to tell me I'm too picky. Then somebody else is going to ask whether my wolf has ever reacted to anyone, like I haven't considered that question myself in the last decade. Tae-jun went still. It was subtle enough that Simone didn't notice. She was too busy opening the revised projections and discovering exactly how much of her morning was about to be ruined. I love my family, she continued. But if Aunt Denise introduces me to another woman's nephew like she's arranging a hostage exchange, I'm walking into that lake. You can't swim. I'll learn out of spite. You could simply tell them you're happy. Simone looked up slowly. Tae-jun. I have been telling them that for years. His expression changed, amusement softening into something quieter. She sighed. They don't mean anything by it. That's what makes it worse. They're not judging me. They're worried about me. She leaned back in her chair. Like I'm sitting alone every night staring through the window waiting for my mate to emerge dramatically from the fog. Do you have a lot of fog where you live? Fuck you. Another almost smile. Simone shook her head. I have a good life. I like my house. I like my job most days. Generous. I have friends. I travel. I buy expensive shit without asking anybody's permission. I can sleep diagonally across my bed. Compelling. And I don't need a mate to validate any of that. No, Tae-jun said. Something in his tone made the humor leave her. He wasn't teasing anymore. You don't. Simone held his gaze. There were moments with Tae-jun like that sometimes. Tiny, strange pauses where the rest of the room seemed to disappear, and she became acutely aware of the man underneath the alpha everyone else saw. Then one of them inevitably ruined it. Today, Simone volunteered. What I need is a rental boyfriend. Tae-jun blinked. She sat forward, suddenly entertained by her own brilliance. That's it. I don't need therapy. I need a man. That's a dangerous sentence. Just for the weekend. Somebody convincing. Somebody Aunt Denise can interrogate into confessing the truth before appetizers. Tae-jun slowly lowered his coffee. Simone was already thinking aloud. He'd need to be a wolf, obviously. Otherwise I'd have to explain the whole unmated thing. And he can't be some random guy because my cousins would investigate him before dinner. Your family sounds exhausting. They're thorough. Apparently. I need somebody they already know. Tae-jun watched her. Simone frowned, thinking. Then her eyes landed on him. She stared. He stared back. No. One dark brow lifted. I haven't said anything. I know what you're thinking. I doubt that. You. Me. Simone pointed at him. Absolutely not. I still haven't proposed anything. Your face did. My face hasn't moved. Exactly. That's when you're most dangerous. His mouth twitched. Simone laughed and shook her head. Can you imagine? Yes. The answer came immediately. Her laughter died. Tae-jun placed his coffee on her desk. Take me. Simone stared at him. Then she laughed again. This time he didn't. Her smile slowly faded. You're serious? Yes. Tae-jun. Simone, you want to come to my family reunion and pretend to be my boyfriend. I don't particularly want to attend your family reunion. Rude. But I'll go. She studied him suspiciously. Why? He held her gaze for a beat too long. Because you asked. I didn't ask you. You were about to. I was about to tell you how ridiculous that would be. And yet you're considering it. She was. That was the irritating part. Tae-jun was perfect. Not perfect. The man had flaws. Somewhere. Presumably. But for this, her family knew exactly who he was. Every wolf in the area did. Nobody would question whether Simone had settled for the first available male, because Kang Tae-jun wasn't the kind of man anyone associated with settling. And Aunt Denise would finally shut up. Probably. Maybe. For 5 minutes. Simone sat back. This could work. I know. Don't get cocky. Too late. She pointed at him again. Rules. His gaze dropped briefly to her finger before returning to her face. Of course there are. One weekend. We arrive together Friday. We leave Sunday. Reasonable. We hold hands, sit together, whatever. Nothing ridiculous. Define ridiculous. Don't make this weird. I'm asking for parameters. No tongue. Tae-jun's expression didn't change. Simone's cheeks warmed anyway. Why are you looking at me like that? Like what? Like. She stopped, because she had absolutely no idea how to describe the look in his eyes without making the conversation significantly more uncomfortable. Tae-jun rescued her. No tongue, he repeated calmly. Right. Anything else? We tell them we've been seeing each other quietly for a few months. How many? What? Months? I don't know. 3. Too short. Simone frowned. Why? Your aunt will ask why you've never mentioned me. She'll ask that anyway. 6. You've put thought into this. I'm good at my job. This is not your job. For the weekend, apparently it is. She rolled her eyes. Fine. 6 months. Exclusively? Simone stared. Why the hell would we fake date non-exclusively? I like thorough parameters. You're enjoying this way too much. His expression remained perfectly composed. I haven't even started. A small shiver moved unexpectedly across Simone's skin. She ignored it. Monday morning, this shit is over. Tae-jun's eyes stayed on hers. For the first time since he'd offered, something unreadable moved across his face. Then it was gone. Monday morning, he agreed. Simone smiled and held out her hand across the desk. Congratulations, boyfriend. Tae-jun looked down at it. For one strange second, he didn't move. Then his large hand closed around hers. Warm, firm, familiar. They'd touched 1,000 times before. Passing folders. Moving around each other at job sites. His hand at her elbow when she'd nearly eaten concrete in a pair of heels she'd known damn well she shouldn't have worn. This shouldn't have felt different. But it did. Tae-jun's thumb moved once across the back of her hand. Something deep inside Simone stirred. Not enough to understand. Just enough to make her breath catch. Tae-jun released her immediately. You okay? Yeah. She flexed her fingers beneath the desk. Static. His gaze dropped briefly to her hand. Must be. What Simone couldn't know was that Tae-jun had spent 3 years imagining 100 different ways she might finally look at him and understand. None of them had involved her sitting behind a desk, swearing about her aunt and accidentally inviting her own mate to pretend to belong to her. His wolf had recognized Simone long before Tae-jun had wanted it to. One ordinary Tuesday. One ordinary meeting. She'd walked past him smelling like vanilla, coffee, and rain, laughing at something another project manager had said. And the wolf inside him had gone utterly still. Her. Tae-jun had known. Simone hadn't. He'd waited for her wolf to answer his. It never had. So he'd kept the truth to himself. He hadn't told Simone her family or the pack. He'd even watched her spend nearly 2 years with Marcus without interfering, because whatever fate had decided, Simone hadn't chosen Tae-jun. He'd learned to live with wanting her quietly. Then, 10 minutes ago, Simone had smiled at him and casually offered the one thing he'd never allowed himself to take. Permission. Not to claim her. Not to tell her. Just to spend one weekend touching his mate as though she had chosen him. Tae-jun picked up his coffee. Send me the address. Simone glanced up from the spreadsheet. I'll pick you up. No. Excuse me. I'm driving. It's my family. It's a 2-hour drive. And I've seen you drive. Simone gasped. Get the fuck out of my office. He collected his folder. Friday. 2 o'clock. I said get out. And Simone. She glared at him. His gaze moved slowly over her face before settling on her eyes. Don't worry. Something about the quiet confidence in his voice made her stomach tighten. I'll make them believe it. By 4:30 Friday afternoon, Simone realized she'd made a catastrophic error. Not because Tae-jun was bad at pretending. Because he was way too fucking good at it. The Ellis reunion occupied a sprawling lakefront rental surrounded by trees, water, and enough parked cars to suggest her family had begun reproducing recreationally. Simone had barely gotten her seat belt off before Tae-jun came around the SUV and opened her door. She stared at him. What? You opened my door? Yes. You never opened my door. You're my girlfriend. Simone glanced toward the house. 3 relatives were already watching them through the enormous front windows. Oh, you asshole. Tae-jun offered his hand. His face was perfectly innocent. Simone put her hand in his. That same strange awareness flickered beneath her skin. Stronger this time. She climbed out. Tae-jun didn't let go. Instead, he laced their fingers together. Simone looked down. Then up. Believable, he murmured. His thumb brushed hers. Her wolf shifted. Simone almost stumbled. Tae-jun's other hand immediately found her waist. You all right? Fine. His palm remained against her side. Heat soaked through the thin fabric of her top. Simone became painfully aware of how large his hand was, and how low it rested, and how close she was standing to him. This was ridiculous. She had known Tae-jun for years. Apparently fake dating caused brain damage. The front door flew open. Simone. Aunt Denise came down the porch steps wearing oversized sunglasses, a bright coral jumpsuit, and the expression of a woman who had just discovered the Lord answered prayers personally. Then she saw Tae-jun. She stopped. Her mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. Simone squeezed Tae-jun's hand. Don't you dare laugh. I'm not. You want to. Desperately. Denise removed her sunglasses. Her gaze traveled from Tae-jun's face to their joined hands. Then to the hands still resting at Simone's waist. Then back to Simone. Baby. Simone knew that tone. Aunt Denise. Is that? Yes. Denise looked at Tae-jun again. Alpha Kong. Tae-jun inclined his head politely. Ms. Ellis. Oh, absolutely not. Denise marched the rest of the way down the steps. If you've been dating my niece for however long she's been hiding you, you can call me Denise. Simone closed her eyes. 30 seconds. They'd been there 30 fucking seconds. Tae-jun's hand moved from Simone's waist to the small of her back. Then Tae-jun, he said. Denise's eyes nearly sparkled. Simone felt the trap closing. You two have been dating? 6 months, Tae-jun said. Without hesitation, Denise whipped toward Simone. 6 months. Quietly. Quietly? Girl, this isn't quiet. This is a federal secret. Tae-jun coughed. Simone cut him a look. He was laughing. The bastard was actually laughing. Denise caught it too. Her expression changed. Not because he'd laughed. Because of the way he was looking at Simone when he did. Oh, she said softly. Simone didn't like that at all. What? Nothing. Aunt Denise. I said nothing. She turned toward the house, then looked back over her shoulder. Your room's upstairs. Second door on the left. Simone froze. Our what? Denise kept walking. Your room. Simone turned slowly toward Tae-jun. He was already reaching into the SUV for their bags. Don't. He pulled out her suitcase. Tae-jun. Then his. Put those back. He closed the rear hatch. Tae-jun. He looked at her. Simone pointed toward the house. She said our room. Yes. Fix it. Why? She stared at him. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. 6 months, Simone. She hated how good he smelled. She'd noticed his cologne before. Of course she had. But standing this close, there was something underneath that she couldn't identify. Something warm and clean, and distinctly him that suddenly seemed to fill her lungs. Her wolf stirred again. Tae-jun's gaze sharpened. For just a second. Then his expression smoothed. You wanted believable, he reminded her. Simone looked toward the house. Denise had stopped in the doorway and was openly watching them. She smiled brightly and slid her arm around Tae-jun's waist. His entire body went rigid, only for a heartbeat. Then his arm came around her. Not tentative, not awkward. His palm settled against her hip, and he pulled her firmly against his side like that was where she had always stood. Simone's breath caught. Tae-jun looked down at her. His eyes had gone very dark. Believable, she whispered. His fingers flexed once against her hip. Careful what you ask me for. Car door slammed behind them. Simone turned toward the driveway. The smile disappeared from her face. Tall black man stepped away from a dark sedan, sunglasses in one hand and a familiar grin already forming as he recognized her. No. No fucking way. Simone. Marcus Reed looked exactly as annoyingly handsome as she remembered, and apparently just as surprised. Marcus. Beside her, Tae-jun became very still. Marcus approached, his smile widening. Damn. I didn't know you were coming. Funny. I was about to say the same thing. He laughed and opened his arms. Simone barely had time to think before Marcus hugged her. It was brief. Friendly. Familiar. When he released her, Tae-jun's hand was still on her hip. Except now it felt less like part of the performance. Marcus noticed him. His brows rose. Simone cleared her throat. Marcus, this is Tae-jun. I know who he is. Of course he did. Marcus offered his hand. Alpha. Tae-jun took it. Marcus. Polite. Calm. Perfectly civilized. Simone looked between them. Something about the air had changed. Marcus glanced at Tae-jun's arm around her, then back at Simone. So you too? Simone opened her mouth. Tae-jun answered first. Yes. One word. Nothing unusual. Except the arm around Simone tightened almost imperceptibly. Marcus smiled. Well, that's new. Simone forced a laugh. Apparently I'm full of surprises. Marcus looked at her for another second before Denise called his name from the porch. He excused himself and headed inside. Simone watched him go, then glanced up at Tae-jun. His attention remained on Marcus. His jaw had tightened. Just slightly. Interesting. That's Marcus, he asked. Simone blinked. Yeah. Tae-jun finally looked down at her. Something unfamiliar moved behind his eyes. Possessive. Sharp. Gone almost before she caught it. Simone's mouth curved. Wait. Tae-jun picked up the suitcases. What? She followed him toward the house. Are you jealous already? No. That sounded fast. I'm not jealous. Tae-jun. He opened the front door for her. Simone. She stepped past him, grinning. Oh, this weekend just got interesting. Behind her, Tae-jun looked once toward Marcus. His wolf was already pacing. And it wasn't even dinner yet. Dinner should have been easy. Simone had survived hundreds of meals with her family, which meant she knew the rules. Never sit beside Aunt Denise if you wanted to eat while your food was still warm. Never mention politics after Uncle Terrence's second drink. Never tell Simone's mother, or any woman related to her mother, that you were just a little tired, unless you wanted to spend the next 20 minutes discussing iron supplements. She knew these people. She knew their habits. What Simone had not adequately prepared for was bringing Kang Tae-jun into their natural habitat. By the time everyone settled around the long dining table, her family had apparently decided the reunion's scheduled activities were cancelled. Tae-jun was the activity. So how did this happen? Simone closed her eyes. Across the table, Aunt Denise leaned forward with both elbows planted beside her plate. We work together, Simone said. I know that. Then why did you ask? Because you've worked together for years. I'm asking how you went from working together to sneaking around for 6 months without telling anybody. We weren't sneaking. Denise stared at her. Simone reconsidered. Okay, technically, I guess we were sneaking. Beside her, Tae-jun continued eating as though this had nothing to do with him. Coward. Denise turned to him. Who asked who out? Simone reached for her wine. Tae-jun dabbed his mouth with his napkin. I did. She nearly inhaled the wine. His hand immediately landed between her shoulder blades. You okay? Simone coughed into her napkin. Fantastic. Tae-jun's palm moved slowly over her back. She turned her head. He was looking at her with entirely too much innocence. You asked her? Denise pressed. I did. When? October. Simone kicked him beneath the table. He didn't react. October? They had agreed on 6 months, not a goddamn origin story. And where did you take her? Tae-jun looked at Simone. For one horrifying moment, she thought she'd caught him. Then his expression softened. That Italian place she likes on Harney. Simone stopped smiling. That was a real place. Not only was it real, she'd once mentioned during a late meeting that it was her favorite restaurant because the owner didn't drown everything in garlic, and the tiramisu was good enough to make her forgive the prices. She couldn't remember when she'd told Tae-jun that. Apparently he could. Denise looked delighted. And she said yes? Eventually. I did not. Tae-jun's hand slid beneath the table and settled on her thigh. Simone forgot the rest of her sentence. Not high. Not inappropriate. Just above her knee. Warm fingers curved around the outside of her thigh as naturally as if his hand had rested there 100 times before. Her wolf lifted her head. Simone looked down. Then at him. Tae-jun continued speaking to Denise. She made me work for it. Oh, I believe that. Table erupted in laughter. Simone barely heard them. Tae-jun's thumb had begun moving. One slow stroke against the fabric covering her thigh. Nothing sexual. It shouldn't have been sexual. Her body strongly disagreed. She leaned toward him, smiling for the family while whispering through her teeth. What are you doing? Dating you. With your hand. Would you prefer I use something else? Simone's head snapped toward him. Tae-jun finally looked at her. There it was. That dry little glint. Her mouth fell open. His expression remained perfectly composed. You're an asshole. So you've mentioned. She should have moved his hand. Instead, she picked up her fork. That bothered her more than anything. because there was no reason to leave it there. They'd already convinced everyone. Hell, Denise looked one shared mortgage away from ordering wedding invitations. Simone didn't need Tae-jun touching her beneath the table. But his hand was warm and strangely comforting, and her wolf, which usually had opinions about everything from crowded rooms to bad perfume, had settled into a quiet contentment Simone hadn't felt from it in years. She told herself it was because Tae-jun was an alpha. Wolves responded to strong alphas. That was normal. Probably. How long have you known? Marcus's voice came from farther down the table. Simone looked over. He wasn't speaking to her. He was watching Tae-jun. Known what? Tae-jun asked. That you wanted her. Something changed. The table hadn't gone silent, but Simone's attention narrowed anyway. Tae-jun's hand stopped moving against her thigh. Marcus smiled, apparently unaware he'd stepped onto something. You two worked together back when Simone and I were together, right? Yes. And nothing ever happened? No. Marcus glanced at Simone. She shrugged. We were friends. Tae-jun's hand flexed. Just once. Marcus nodded. Guess timing is everything. Sometimes, Tae-jun said. The answer sounded perfectly normal. Simone felt the tension in his fingers anyway. She looked at him. He didn't look back. Interesting. Very. Fucking. Interesting. By Saturday morning, Simone had identified 3 problems. The first was that Aunt Denise had apparently appointed herself lead investigator in the case of Simone's secret relationship. The second was that Marcus kept appearing. Not aggressively. Not suspiciously. The man was simply attending the same family reunion, which unfortunately gave him every right to exist in common spaces. The third problem was Tae-jun. Definitely Tae-jun. Simone stood barefoot at the kitchen counter pouring coffee, while half the house remained asleep. She'd escaped their bedroom 20 minutes earlier under the excuse that she needed caffeine. That part wasn't technically a lie. She just didn't mention that waking up and finding Tae-jun asleep 3 feet away had done something deeply inconvenient to her nervous system. They hadn't shared the bed. She'd drawn that line immediately. Tae-jun had looked at the king-size mattress, looked at her, and offered to take the floor. Simone had told him not to be ridiculous. So they'd compromised. She'd taken the bed. He'd taken the oversized chaise near the windows. It should have solved the problem. Instead, Simone had spent an embarrassing amount of time listening to his breathing in the darkness. Then she'd fallen asleep, and slept better than she had in months. No tossing. No waking at 3 a.m. No wolf pacing restlessly beneath her skin. Nothing. She'd opened her eyes just after 7 feeling so rested she'd briefly wondered whether she'd been drugged. Then she'd smelled him. Warm skin. Clean cotton. Something faintly woodsy beneath the cologne he'd worn the day before. Her wolf had practically purred. Simone had gotten the fuck out of bed. She was adding cream to her coffee when another mug appeared beside hers. Black ceramic. 2 teaspoons of sugar. A splash of cream. Exactly the way she liked it. You already made me one? Marcus leaned against the opposite counter. Simone looked from the mug to him. Apparently. He smiled. Still 2 sugars? She laughed softly. Unfortunately. Some things don't change. He pushed the mug toward her. Thanks. She reached for it. A hand came around her waist from behind. Simone froze. Tae-jun's chest brushed her back. His scent surrounded her before she'd even heard him enter the kitchen. And just like that, the strange restless thing inside her settled. Morning, he murmured. His voice was rougher with sleep. It did terrible things to the base of her spine. Simone turned her head. His hair wasn't styled yet. Dark strands fell loosely across his forehead, and he wore gray sweatpants with a fitted black t-shirt that made it offensively clear how much space he occupied. Morning. His eyes dropped to the coffee Marcus had made, then to the cup in Simone's other hand. Tae-jun reached around her and placed another mug on the counter. Simone stared at it, then at him. Seriously? What? She picked up the mug he'd brought. 2 sugars. Cream. Marcus laughed. Well shit. Tae-jun looked at him. Marcus lifted both hands. Apparently we've both got the coffee covered. I've got it. The words were mild. Marcus's brows rose. Simone bit the inside of her cheek. There it was again. That tiny edge. She shouldn't enjoy it. She absolutely did. Marcus took his own coffee and headed toward the patio. Good seeing you, Alpha. Marcus. The door closed behind him. Simone waited. Tae-jun reached for the mug Marcus had made her. She slapped his hand. Don't. You have one. So. You don't need two. I might. Then I'll make you another. Simone stared at him. Tae-jun stared back. Slowly, a grin spread across her face. You're jealous. No. You are. I'm making coffee. You're trying to throw away coffee another man made me. I'm cleaning. At 8 in the morning? I own a company. I'm proactive. Simone laughed so hard she had to put both mugs down. Tae-jun looked offended, which only made it worse. Oh my God. Are you finished? No. Take your coffee. Which one? His eyes narrowed. Simone grabbed Marcus's mug. Tae-jun took it directly out of her hand and replaced it with his. She gasped. He walked away. Kang Tae-jun. Drink your coffee, Simone. She stared at his broad back as he left the kitchen. Her wolf gave a pleased little stretch beneath her skin. Simone pressed her lips together. This weekend was becoming a problem. The reunion shifted outdoors by noon. Music drifted from speakers near the patio while cousins moved between the lake, picnic tables, an enormous grill somebody had decided required 3 men to operate. Simone sat beneath an umbrella talking to Denise and 2 cousins when Tae-jun appeared beside her with a plate. He placed it in front of her. Grilled chicken, potato salad, fruit, no onions. Simone looked up. I didn't ask you to get me food. You hadn't eaten. I was going to. When? Eventually. Tae-jun handed her a fork. Denise watched the exchange. Simone caught her. Don't. I didn't say anything. Your face did. Denise smiled into her lemonade. Tae-jun pulled out the chair beside Simone and sat. She looked at the plate again. You remembered I hate onions in potato salad. Everyone should hate onions in potato salad. That's not the point. He leaned back. What is the point? Simone opened her mouth. Nothing came out. She didn't actually know. It was just. He remembered. It shouldn't have surprised her. Tae-jun remembered everything. Her coffee order, the flowers that gave her headaches, even the sparkling water she kept in her office. She'd always considered it part of his annoyingly precise personality. Now those details felt intimate. You're staring at me, he said. No, I'm not. You are. I'm trying to figure out if you're secretly a stalker. Poorly kept secret. She laughed. Tae-jun smiled. Her wolf stirred. Again. Simone's laughter faded. There had been too many against since yesterday. Too many moments when Tae-jun touched her, and something inside her responded before her brain caught up. Worse, she'd started sensing when he entered a space before she consciously saw or smelled him. Hyper-awareness, she told herself. Completely normal. Probably. You okay? Simone blinked. Tae-jun was watching her. Fine. His eyes searched hers. For a moment, she got the strange impression he knew something she didn't. Then Denise leaned across the table. So, Tae-jun. Simone groaned. Here we go. Denise ignored her. What does your family think about Simone? Tae-jun didn't even pause. They like her. Simone turned. What? They've met you. No, they haven't. You met my mother at the foundation dinner last spring. That does not count. You spoke for 20 minutes. She was really nice. That's because she likes you. Denise looked ready to ascend. Simone pointed her fork at Tae-jun. You are giving this woman ammunition. I'm answering the question. Badly. Accurately. Denise clasped her hands. Has your mother asked when you're going to? No. Tae-jun's tone remained polite, but something in it ended the question before Denise could finish. Simone glanced at him. He didn't look irritated. If anything, he looked almost amused. But the boundary was there. Clear. Denise apparently felt it too. She changed direction. Well, I'm just happy Simone finally found somebody who understands her. Simone frowned. Understands me. Baby, you can be a lot. Excuse me? Tae-jun picked up his drink. Denise pointed at him. See, he didn't even argue. Because he values his life. Tae-jun took a sip. She's right. Simone turned toward him in outrage. He was smiling. She shoved his shoulder. He caught her wrist. It happened quickly. Playfully. Nothing more than reflex. But once his fingers closed around her wrist, neither of them moved. His thumb rested over her pulse. Simone's breath slowed. The sounds around them seemed to fade. Tae-jun's smile disappeared. His eyes dropped to her mouth. Her wolf pushed forward, so suddenly Simone felt heat move through her entire body. Not aggression. Not fear. Recognition of something she couldn't name. She pulled her hand back. Tae-jun released her immediately. Denise had gone suspiciously quiet. Simone grabbed her fork. Nobody say anything. Denise picked up her lemonade. I didn't. Good. Tae-jun leaned closer. You're blushing. Simone stabbed a piece of chicken. I will stab you with this fork. His mouth brushed dangerously close to her ear. Believable. A shiver moved down her neck. She hated him. She was beginning to suspect that was a lie. Marcus found her near the dock later that afternoon. Simone had escaped the crowd for 10 minutes of peace, shoes abandoned beside her while she sat with her feet dangling over the edge. The lake was calm, sunlight scattering across the surface. Marcus lowered himself beside her. Mind if I sit? You're already sitting. Still mean. Consistent. He laughed. For a while, they simply watched the water. That was one of the things Simone had liked about Marcus once. Silence with him had never been uncomfortable. I meant what I said yesterday, he said eventually. She looked over. About being surprised to see me? About timing. Simone's stomach sank slightly. Marcus rubbed his palms together. I've thought about calling you. Marcus. Not like that. Well, he smiled ruefully. Maybe a little like that. She looked back toward the lake. I don't know if that's a good idea. I know. His answer surprised her. Marcus exhaled. We weren't terrible together. No. That was true. Their relationship hadn't ended in flames. No betrayal. No screaming match. They'd simply reached a point where loving each other had required more work than either of them seemed willing to keep doing. Marcus had wanted more certainty from her. Simone had wanted less pressure from him. Eventually they'd stopped meeting in the middle. I've wondered if I gave up too quickly, he said. Simone was quiet. A year ago, hearing that might have done something to her. 6 months ago, maybe. Now. She searched herself for regret. Longing. Curiosity. Anything. There was affection. History. Nothing else. I'm glad you're doing well, she said. Marcus nodded slowly. That's a very polite rejection. I'm trying to grow. He laughed. He's good to you? Simone looked toward the house without thinking. Tae-jun stood on the patio. Too far away to hear them. Close enough to see. His gaze was fixed on Marcus. Simone felt a strange little thrill. She turned back. Yeah. The answer came before she remembered the relationship wasn't real. Marcus followed her gaze. He's intense. You have no idea. I've seen him in pack meetings. That's Alpha Tae-jun. Marcus looked amused. There's another one. Simone smiled. Yeah. She didn't elaborate. Marcus nudged her shoulder lightly with his. I'm happy for you, Simone. Thank you. His hand landed briefly over hers. Friendly. A familiar gesture from another lifetime. Across the lawn, Tae-jun went completely still. Even from this distance, Simone saw his jaw tighten. Marcus removed his hand. Simone should have looked away. She didn't. Tae-jun's eyes met hers. Something low in her stomach tightened. Her wolf rose beneath her skin. Not toward Marcus. Toward him. Simone swallowed. What the hell was happening to her? All right, Lair mates, before we keep going, I want to know what you think. Simone keeps telling herself this is fake, but she's sitting there tucked beside Tae-jun when nobody's even watching. And Tae-jun. Well, that man has been suspiciously comfortable playing boyfriend from the beginning. So what do you think happens next? Does Simone finally realize there's something real between them? Or is this fake relationship about to blow up in both their faces? Drop your prediction in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And no cheating by changing your answer later. Now back to the story. By evening, she was determined to regain control of the situation. Then Denise showed her the bedroom. Simone stood in the doorway. 1 king-size bed. 1 chaise. 1 bathroom. 1 closet. 2 suitcases, which Tae-jun had apparently already brought upstairs. Denise smiled. Fresh towels are in the bathroom. Aunt Denise. There are other rooms. No, there aren't. I saw one across the hall. Your cousin has that one. What about downstairs? Full. The couch. Denise looked genuinely offended. Why would your boyfriend sleep on the couch? Behind Simone, Tae-jun arrived. She could feel him before he spoke. That realization bothered her enough that she almost missed what Denise said next. Unless there's a problem. Simone smiled immediately. Nope. Tae-jun stopped beside her. No problem. Traitor. Denise beamed. Good. Breakfast at 8. She disappeared down the hallway. Simone waited until the sound of her footsteps faded, then turned. Tae-jun. He walked into the bedroom. She followed. Do not ignore me. I'm putting my things away. Why didn't you help me? He placed his watch on the dresser. With what? The room. What about it? She gestured toward the bed. There's one. Yes. And it's large. Simone stared at him. You are enjoying this. Tae-jun turned. He had changed for dinner earlier, dark trousers and an open-collar shirt replacing the casual clothes he'd worn outside. He looked unfairly good. Worse, Simone could smell him from across the room. That warm, woodsy scent that had somehow become stronger over the last 24 hours. She folded her arms. You could have told Denise we wanted separate rooms. And then spent the rest of the weekend explaining why a couple that's supposedly been together for 6 months refuses to sleep in the same room. We could be traditional. Tae-jun looked at her. Simone looked back. Fine. She wouldn't believe that. No. But you could at least pretend to be concerned. I'm deeply concerned. About whether you're going to talk all night. She grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. Tae-jun caught it one-handed. Asshole. He placed the pillow back on the bed. I'll take the chaise again. Simone's irritation faltered. You don't have to. I know. The bed is huge. Tae-jun went very still. Simone immediately heard her own sentence. Heat crawled up her neck. I mean, if you stay on your side. His eyes darkened. Simone. What? Think very carefully before you finish that invitation. Her heart gave one hard beat. She should have made a joke. Instead, she held his gaze. Something had changed between them since yesterday. No. Something had changed inside her. Tae-jun had always been attractive. She wasn't blind. She'd simply never looked at him and imagined what his body would feel like stretched beside hers in the dark. Now she couldn't stop imagining it. His scent filled the room. Her wolf moved closer to the surface. Tae-jun inhaled slowly. His gaze sharpened. For one strange second, Simone had the unmistakable feeling that he was reacting to her too. Then he stepped backward. The chaise is fine. The distance between them felt wrong immediately. Simone hated that. She hated it even more because she didn't understand why. Fine, she said. Fine. Neither moved. Simone finally turned toward her suitcase. This fake dating shit is weird. Behind her, Tae-jun's voice came quieter. You have no idea. She glanced over her shoulder. He had already turned away. Later, the family gathered around the fire pit overlooking the lake. Simone sat beside Tae-jun on an outdoor sofa, close enough that their thighs touched. She told herself it was necessary. Nobody was even looking at them. She stayed there anyway. Tae-jun's arm rested along the back of the sofa behind her. At some point, Simone leaned back. His arm came down around her shoulders. Neither acknowledged it. She should have. Instead, she settled closer. Her wolf went quiet. Content. Simone stared into the fire. This was becoming impossible to explain. Across the fire pit, Marcus laughed at something one of her cousins said. Tae-jun's fingers moved absently against her upper arm. Simone looked down at them. You know, she murmured, you're taking this assignment very seriously. Am I? You nearly committed a felony over coffee. He made it wrong. It was exactly the same. Mine was better. 'Cause I made it. She laughed. His fingers tightened around her. Simone looked up. Tae-jun was already watching her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Marcus called her name. She glanced over. You remember Lake Cunningham? Simone groaned. Don't. Marcus laughed. She tried to jump off the boat before we tied it up. I thought we were closer to shore. You were wearing jeans. I panicked. You sank like a brick. Everyone nearby laughed. Simone covered her face. Oh my God. Marcus grinned. I had to drag her back into the boat. Tae-jun's body had gone quiet beside her. Simone peeked at him. Don't. I didn't say anything. Your face did. His gaze shifted toward Marcus. Apparently I have one face. Simone smiled. Marcus continued telling the story. Tae-jun's fingers resumed their slow movement against her arm. But Simone could feel the tension underneath it. Jealousy. Real jealousy. Not performance. Not something for her family. Nobody was watching them. Tae-jun didn't need to hold her this closely. Didn't need to keep touching her. Didn't need to look at Marcus like he was mentally evaluating how difficult it would be to throw a grown man into a lake. A warm little pulse of satisfaction moved through her. Her wolf practically preened. Simone stopped smiling. Oh, that was new. She turned toward Tae-jun. His profile was illuminated by the fire, expression controlled as always. Tae-jun. She lowered her voice. Are you actually jealous? His eyes moved to hers. No. Simone studied him. Liar. His jaw tightened. Just slightly. Her heart kicked. There it was. Not fake. Not imagined. Something real had slipped through. And instead of frightening her, it sent heat curling through her stomach. Tae-jun seemed to realize she'd seen it. His arm loosened around her. Simone caught his wrist before he could pull away. Both of them looked down at her hand. She didn't know why she'd stopped him. Her wolf did. She could feel that much. She wanted him close. That realization should have made Simone release him. She didn't. Slowly, Tae-jun settled his arm around her again. This time his hand rested at her waist. Simone leaned into him. No audience required. No performance necessary. Neither of them said a word about it. But for the first time since they'd arrived, Simone wondered whether the biggest mistake she'd made this weekend had nothing to do with bringing Tae-jun home. Maybe it was assuming she already knew exactly what he was to her. And beside her, Tae-jun sat perfectly still, feeling Simone's wolf reach toward his for the first time in years. He closed his eyes briefly. His wolf surged forward. Finally, Tae-jun tightened his arm around Simone by a fraction. But he said nothing. He had waited years for her to feel him. He could wait a little longer for her to understand why. By the time the fire burned down to glowing embers, Simone had stopped pretending she wasn't paying attention to Tae-jun. That didn't mean she understood what the hell she was paying attention to. She simply couldn't stop. She noticed when he got up to refill his drink. Not because she was watching him leave, at least that was what she told herself, but because the absence of his body beside hers registered immediately. The night suddenly felt cooler. Her wolf grew restless. Then Tae-jun returned, lowered himself onto the sofa, and that restlessness disappeared so quickly Simone almost became angry. At her wolf. At him. At herself. At whatever weird biological bullshit had apparently decided this weekend was the perfect time to make her hyper-aware of a man she'd known for years. She lasted another 20 minutes before standing. I'm going inside. Tae-jun looked up at her. Tired? No. Came out too quickly. His brow lifted. Simone sight. Maybe. I'll come with you. Of course he would. The reasonable response would have been okay. Instead, Simone's pulse jumped. Fine. She headed toward the house before he could see anything on her face. Most of the family remained outside, and the few people inside had scattered between bedrooms and the kitchen. Simone climbed the stairs with Tae-jun behind her, painfully conscious of every footstep. She entered their bedroom and immediately went to her suitcase. She had no reason to be in it. She opened it anyway. Behind her, the door clicked shut. Not locked. Just closed. Simone stared at a stack of clothes she'd packed herself and apparently had never seen before in her life. Tae-jun moved somewhere behind her. She felt it. That was the problem. She didn't need to look anymore. Her body seemed to know where he was. You've been quiet, he said. I'm tired. You said you weren't. Then I changed my mind. Within 30 seconds, Simone pulled out a t-shirt. Put it back. Pulled out another one. Women are complex. So I've heard. She glanced over her shoulder. Tae-jun stood near the dresser removing his watch. The same watch he'd removed the night before. There was absolutely no reason for Simone to watch his fingers undo the clasp. She watched anyway. He placed it on the dresser, then looked at her through the mirror. Caught. Simone immediately looked back into her suitcase. Something bothering you? Nope. Simone. She closed the suitcase harder than necessary. Why do you do that? Do what? Say my name like that. Tae-jun. Like what? Like you already know I'm lying. Usually because I do. She folded her arms. There. That wasn't your name. You know what I mean. He leaned one hip against the dresser. No, I don't. He did. The asshole absolutely did. Simone studied him. Maybe that was why she finally asked. Why were you jealous? Tae-jun's expression didn't change. I wasn't. Don't. I'm not doing anything. Exactly. You're doing that alpha thing. What alpha thing? Where you stand there looking calm while everybody else can feel that you're 2 seconds away from making something somebody's problem. A faint smile touched his mouth. That's remarkably specific. I've worked with you for years. Then you should know I wasn't jealous. Simone laughed once. Bullshit. His smile disappeared. There. She'd hit something. She walked farther into the room. Nobody was watching us at the fire pit. Tae-jun remained against the dresser. So you didn't need to have your arm around me. You were cold. I wasn't. You leaned into me. Simone stopped. That's not the point. It's an interesting point. We're talking about you. Convenient. She narrowed her eyes. And you almost threw Marcus's coffee away this morning. It was clutter. It was one mug. We had several. And every time Marcus comes near me, your jaw does that thing. What thing? Simone imitated him badly, stiffening her jaw and narrowing her eyes. Tae-jun stared at her. That's what I look like. Exactly. I look constipated. Simone burst out laughing. She tried not to. She really did. But the expression on his face killed her. Oh my God. That's insulting. You ask. I regret it. She was still laughing when Tae-jun smiled. And just like that, the tension broke. For about 3 seconds. Then Simone realized how close she'd moved. She stood only a few feet away now. Tae-jun noticed too. The humor faded slowly from his eyes. Simone swallowed. Seriously. His gaze stayed on hers. Seriously what? Marcus. What about him? Does he bother you? Pause. Yes. The answer stole some of her momentum. Simone had expected another denial. Why? Tae-jun looked away. Not for long. But long enough. Tae-jun. He was your boyfriend. I remember. You were serious about him. At one point. And now he's here telling you he wonders whether breaking up was a mistake. Simone frowned. How do you know that? You told me. I said he talked to me. You didn't have to tell me the rest. She stared. You heard us. No. Then how? I know you. The room went quiet. Tae-jun pushed away from the dresser. When something upsets you, you rub the inside of your thumb. Simone looked down. She was doing it now. Her hand dropped. When you're angry, you get louder. When you're actually hurt, you get quiet. You came back from the dock quiet. Simone didn't know what to say. Tae-jun continued. And Marcus spent the rest of the afternoon watching you like a man reconsidering his life choices. It wasn't difficult. That is deeply annoying. I know. No, I mean you. I know that too. She shook her head, but the humor wouldn't come back. Marcus said he's wondered if we gave up too quickly. Tae-jun's expression hardened. There it was again. Simone almost smiled. See? What? Your face. My face hasn't moved. It absolutely moved. It did not. Your whole jaw just went alpha. That's not a thing. It's a thing now. Tae-jun exhaled through his nose. Simone smiled. Then quietly added. I told him no. Tae-jun stilled. She wasn't sure why she'd needed him to know. But she had. He wasn't asking me to get back together exactly. I think he just wanted to know if there was still something there. And there isn't. Something in Tae-jun eased. Barely. Simone caught that too. Her smile faded. Why does that matter to you? He didn't answer. Tae-jun. His eyes met hers. She'd never noticed how dark they could look. Almost black in the low bedroom light. Because I don't like seeing another man touch you. The air seemed to leave the room. Simone stared at him. There was no joke waiting behind the words. No little smirk. Nothing. Just Tae-jun. You know that's not part of the assignment, right? I know. Nobody's here. I know. You don't have to pretend with me. His gaze dropped to her mouth. I'm not. Simone's heart hit hard against her ribs. Oh shit. She'd wanted an answer. Apparently she hadn't planned for receiving one. Tae-jun straightened. We should probably stop this conversation. Why? 'Cause you're asking questions you haven't thought through. Irritation cut cleanly through her nerves. Don't do that. Do what? Decide what I've thought through. I'm not. You just did. His jaw tightened. Simone stepped closer. You've been weird all weekend. We're pretending to date. No. Don't give me that shit again. I'm not giving you anything. Exactly. She was close enough now to smell him. That warm scent she'd been trying not to obsess over all day wrapped around her. Her wolf pushed forward. Simone's pulse accelerated. Tae-jun noticed. Of course he did. His eyes sharpened. What? She asked. Nothing. Liar. His nostrils flared subtly. Simone frowned. What is happening? Tae-jun went very still. She pressed a hand against her chest. Every time you touch me, my wolf settles down. I know when you walk into a room before I see you. You've smelled. She stopped. His brow lifted. Smelled what? Don't make this worse. I'm fascinated. You've smelled really fucking good since yesterday. Tiny muscle moved in his cheek. Simone pointed at him. Don't laugh. I'm not. You want to. I really don't. That stopped her. Because he didn't. Tae-jun wasn't amused anymore. If anything, he looked tense. Do you feel it? She asked. His silence was answer enough. Simone's heartbeat quickened. Feel what? He shook his head once. No. Her frustration flared. No what? I'm not answering that for you. What the hell does that mean? It means whatever you're feeling. I need you to decide what it means. That sounds like some cryptic alpha bullshit. Probably. Tae-jun. He looked away. Simone had known him too long not to recognize avoidance when she saw it. Something was happening, and he knew more about it than she did. But underneath the frustration was another truth she couldn't ignore. She wanted him. She wanted him. That realization was almost embarrassingly simple. Spending the weekend touching a man she'd always found attractive had apparently shattered whatever mental wall had kept him safely categorized as friend. She knew what his hand felt like against her waist now. What his voice sounded like first thing in the morning. What happened inside her when all that controlled attention narrowed completely onto her. She'd spent years seeing Tae-jun. This weekend she'd started feeling him. And she wanted more. The realization should have frightened her. Instead, it made something inside her settle. Simone stepped forward. Tae-jun immediately noticed. Simone. There was warning in her name now. She ignored it. Do you want me? His entire body went still. For once, Kang Tae-jun had no immediate answer. That told her more than words could have. Simone's pulse thundered. That's what I thought. She reached for him. Tae-jun caught her wrist before her hand reached his chest. Not hard. His fingers simply closed around her. Don't. Simone stared at him. The rejection landed harder than she expected. Her wolf recoiled. Tae-jun must have seen something on her face because his grip immediately softened. That's not what I mean. Then you might want to explain quickly. His thumb moved over the inside of her wrist. Her pulse jumped beneath it. If you touch me right now, he said quietly, I need to know you're not doing it because of Marcus. I'm not. Or because your family expects us to act like a couple. They're downstairs. I know. Then what the hell do you think I'm doing? Tae-jun's eyes searched hers. That's what I'm asking. Simone understood. And suddenly the restraint that had irritated her all weekend looked different. He wasn't stopping her because he didn't want her. He was stopping her because he did. Very much. She could feel it in the tension running through his body. In the way his fingers remained around her wrist. In his breathing. In those nearly black eyes fixed on her face. Simone stepped closer until barely any space remained between them. I'm not pretending. Tae-jun closed his eyes. Only for a second. When they opened again, the control she'd always associated with him looked painfully thin. Say it again. Her stomach flipped. I'm not pretending. His fingers released her wrist. But he didn't touch her. He waited. The decision remained entirely hers. Simone raised her hand. This time he let her. Her palm settled against his chest. His heart was beating hard beneath it. She smiled faintly. Well, look at that. Tae-jun's brow furrowed. You're nervous. I'm reconsidering every decision that led me into this room. Too late. Simone. She rose onto her toes and kissed him. For one heartbeat, Tae-jun didn't move. Simone felt the exact moment his restraint broke. His hand came around the back of her neck, the other locking around her waist as he kissed her back. There was nothing tentative about it. Nothing fake. Tae-jun kissed like a man who had spent far too long imagining exactly this, and had finally been handed permission to stop imagining. Simone's fingers curled into his shirt. Heat rushed through her. His mouth moved over hers slowly at first, controlled even now, giving her every opportunity to pull away. She didn't. She pressed closer. Tae-jun made a low sound against her lips. The vibration went straight through her. His arm tightened around her waist. Simone kissed him harder. That was when control disappeared. Tae-jun turned them, backing her against the dresser without breaking the kiss. His hand slid from her neck into her hair, careful of the curls even while his mouth became hungrier. Simone had kissed men before. She had loved Marcus once. She knew attraction, desire, chemistry. This was none of those things. Or maybe it was all of them with something else underneath. Something ancient. something that had been sleeping inside her and had suddenly opened its eyes. Her wolf surged forward. Simone gasped into Tae-jun's mouth. He froze, not because she wanted him to stop, because something inside her had reached beyond skin and breath and heat. Toward him. Her wolf stretched toward the presence she'd been circling all weekend, and found another wolf already there, waiting. The contact hit Simone like a second heartbeat. Warmth exploded through her chest. Her breath vanished. The world seemed to narrow to scent and touch and Tae-jun. Not alpha. Not coworker. Not friend. Him. Her wolf knew him. Not as something new. As something finally understood. Tae-jun's forehead dropped against hers. His breathing had gone rough. Simone couldn't move. Her wolf pressed forward again. His answered instantly. The connection settled deep beneath her skin with such certainty that Simone's knees nearly gave out. Tae-jun caught her. Easy. His voice sounded strained. Simone gripped his arms. What? She couldn't finish. Her senses felt too sharp. His scent was everywhere. Not merely pleasant anymore. Necessary. Known. Her wolf pushed one word through the confusion. Not spoken. Not heard. Understood. Mate. Simone stopped breathing. Tae-jun held perfectly still. She slowly lifted her face. His eyes had changed. Not fully. But the dark brown was threaded with the unmistakable glow of his wolf pressing close to the surface. Simone stared. Her heart pounded. No. It wasn't rejection. It was disbelief. She searched inward. Her wolf remained fixed on Tae-jun, certain. Content. As though it couldn't understand why Simone was surprised. Her gaze snapped back to his. Tae-jun. He closed his eyes. That was when the first thread of confusion became something colder. Because Tae-jun wasn't shocked. He wasn't asking what had happened. He wasn't staring at her like his entire understanding of their relationship had just shattered. He looked. Relieved. Simone's hands slowly dropped from his arms. Tae-jun opened his eyes. She stepped away. His hands fell immediately from her body. Neither spoke. Simone could feel the bond now. God, she could feel it. A low, steady awareness of him beneath everything else. Her wolf wanted to close the distance she'd just created. Simone ignored it. She looked at the man standing in front of her. Her friend. Her fake boyfriend. Her. No. Not yet. Her mind raced backward through the weekend. How easily he'd agreed. The way he'd watched her every time she described what she was feeling, his restraint, his jealousy. I'm not answering that for you. Tae-jun hadn't been confused by any of it. He'd been waiting. You knew. Tae-jun didn't answer. He didn't need to. The silence told her everything. She stared at him. Tae-jun. His jaw tightened. Simone. How long? He looked away. A pulse of anger cut through the shock. Don't you fucking look away from me. His gaze returned immediately. How long have you known? Tae-jun's face changed. Not into the alpha mask. Something worse. Regret. Simone's heart began pounding for an entirely different reason. How long? His voice was quiet. 3 years. For several seconds, Simone couldn't understand the words. 3 years. Not yesterday. Not since they'd arrived. Not even 6 months. 3 years. Her wolf remained painfully aware of him. That made it worse. Simone stepped backward. You've known for 3 years that I'm your mate? Yes. And you never told me? Tae-jun swallowed. No. The warmth from their kiss still lingered on her lips. Her body still wanted him. Her wolf still wanted closer. But Simone stared at one of her closest friends and suddenly felt as though she didn't know him at all. What the fuck, Tae-jun? He took one instinctive step toward her. Simone lifted her hand. Don't. He stopped immediately. That almost hurt more. Because even now he listened. Even now, he gave her exactly the distance she asked for. Simone wrapped her arms around herself. 3 years. Questions crowded behind her teeth. Each one uglier than the last. Why hadn't he told her? Why had her wolf never known? Had he been waiting for this? Was that why he'd agreed? Was any part of this weekend actually what she'd thought it was? Tae-jun stood across from her, saying nothing. For the first time since Simone had known him, the alpha looked uncertain, not weak, not afraid. Just like a man who had spent years preparing himself for a moment and had discovered preparation meant absolutely nothing once it arrived. Simone's eyes burned. She hated that too. You knew, she whispered. Yes. And you let me stand there yesterday making jokes about never finding my mate. Pain moved across his face. I know. You let me ask you to pretend. Yes. Her laugh came out sharp and humorless. Jesus Christ. She turned away. Simone. Not right now. His silence returned. She could feel him behind her. The bond made sure of it. That might have been the cruelest part. For 3 years, Tae-jun had apparently carried knowledge that could have changed everything. Now Simone finally knew too. And she had never felt farther away from him. Simone did not sleep. She tried. For almost an hour, she lay on her side facing the wall, while Tae-jun remained somewhere behind her in the room. She knew exactly where. That was the problem. She could feel him now. Not metaphorically. Not because the mattress dipped or because his breathing carried through the dark. The bond sat beneath her skin like a new sense she'd apparently been born with and somehow misplaced for 35 years. Tae-jun was near the window. Then he moved toward the chaise. Then he stopped. Every small shift registered. Her wolf tracked him without effort. Content simply because he was close. Simone hated it. Not the wolf. Not even the bond. She hated the certainty of something she hadn't asked to know. 3 years. That number kept circling back. 3 years of lunches, late meetings, bitching to Tae-jun about her family, her job, Marcus, dating, being unmated, and the endless parade of people asking whether her wolf had ever recognized anyone. 3 years of looking directly at the man who already knew the answer. Behind her, fabric rustled. Simone's eyes opened. Tae-jun. He stopped moving. What? His voice was quiet. Are you leaving the room? A pause. I was going downstairs. Why? You asked me not to talk to you. I said not right now. It's been an hour. That's still right now. Another pause. Okay. He sat back down. Simone stared at the wall. She should have appreciated that. Instead, irritation prickled across her skin. You're seriously just going to sit there? What would you prefer I do? I don't know. Neither do I. That answer did something strange to her anger. For as long as she'd known Tae-jun, he had always seemed to know what came next. In meetings. During emergencies. With employees. With his pack. Even when everything around him turned chaotic. Tae-jun moved through it like somebody had already handed him the instructions. Now he sounded lost. Good. Petty part of Simone thought he deserved it. She pushed herself upright. Tae-jun looked over. The lamp near the window was still on, casting a low amber glow across the room. He sat on the edge of the chaise, elbows resting loosely against his thighs. He hadn't changed for bed. He'd only removed his shoes and rolled his sleeves to his forearms. Simone hated that she still noticed. Her body had apparently decided betrayal was not a sufficient reason to stop finding the man attractive. Rude. Why? She asked. Tae-jun straightened. You know the question. His gaze held hers. Why didn't I tell you? Yes. He was quiet long enough to piss her off again. Tae-jun. 'Cause you didn't know. Simone stared. That is the stupidest answer you could possibly give me. I know how it sounds. Do you? Yes. 'Cause from where I'm sitting, it sounds a lot like you made a decision about my life without me. His expression tightened. I did. The direct admission stalled her. No defense. No attempt to twist it. He simply took the hit. Simone folded her arms. Then explain it. Tae-jun inhaled slowly. When I recognized you, I thought you would recognize me too. When? The recognition? Yes. He looked toward the floor for a moment. 3 years ago. At the Hawthorne redevelopment meeting. Simone searched her memory. There had been dozens of Hawthorne meetings. Then one came back. A Tuesday. Rain all morning. A conference room full of contractors arguing over structural changes. She'd spent half the meeting texting Tae-jun's sarcastic commentary from 3 seats away. Nothing supernatural had happened. Nothing memorable. Apparently Tae-jun's entire life had shifted across a conference table while Simone complained about the coffee. You knew then? Yes. And my wolf did nothing. Nothing I could sense. Simone frowned. What did you do? I waited. For how long? A while. Define a while. A few months. She laughed bitterly. A few months. I didn't know recognition could happen this far apart. Neither did I. I researched it. That made her look at him. Tae-jun continued. It isn't common, but it happens. Sometimes one side recognizes first. Sometimes the other side never fully awakens unless something changes. What changed now? His eyes met hers. Us. Her pulse kicked. Simone hated that too. The proximity, he said. Touch. Scent. Emotion. Your wolf started responding yesterday. You knew that too? Yes. So all weekend you've been watching me slowly figure this out while you already knew exactly what was happening. I knew what might be happening. That's not better. No. Then why didn't you tell me when you noticed? Tae-jun's jaw tightened. Because telling you would have changed every feeling you were having. Simone scoffed. It already did. After you recognized me. Not before. She stared at him. Tae-jun stood. He didn't come closer. He simply seemed too large for the chaise suddenly, too restless to remain seated. Simone, if I told you 3 years ago that you were my mate, what would have happened? I don't know. I do. You don't know what I would have done. No. But I know what everyone else would have done. His voice changed. Not louder. Sharper. The pack would have accepted it immediately. I'm the alpha. The moment I said you were my mate, nobody would have treated that like a possibility. It would have become fact. Simone didn't answer. Your family would have celebrated. People would have congratulated you. They would have asked when you were moving in, when we'd mark the bond, when you'd stand beside me. That doesn't mean I would have agreed. No. Tae-jun's eyes held hers. But you would have had to disagree with all of them. That hit harder. He continued before she could respond. You would have had to look at your family, your pack, and your alpha and explain why you didn't want what everyone believed fate had already chosen for you. Simone's arms slowly loosened. And I would have been the alpha standing on the other side of that decision. His voice dropped. I wasn't doing that to you. The room went quiet. Simone looked away. She understood the logic. That didn't mean she liked it. Actually, understanding it made everything more complicated. So instead, you decided for me. Yes. Stop agreeing with me when I'm pissed at you. Tired laugh almost escaped him. Almost. Simone rubbed her forehead. You could have told me privately. I considered it. Then why didn't you? 'Cause you were dating Marcus. The answer landed cleanly. Simone looked back at him. Tae-jun's expression had gone still. Not alpha still. The kind of stillness people used when they were holding something painful very carefully. You recognized me before Marcus and I broke up? Before you started dating him seriously? Simone stared. Jesus. How the hell did you do that? His brow furrowed. Do what? Sit across from me while I talked about him. Tae-jun looked away. Poorly. She almost laughed. Nothing about this was funny. Somehow that was. Tae-jun. He exhaled. It wasn't my choice to make. You wanted to interfere. Every fucking day. The bluntness of it silenced her. His wolf flashed briefly through his eyes. Not threatening. Raw. I wanted to tell him to stay away from you. I wanted to tell you exactly what you were to me. I wanted to stop pretending I didn't know why his scent on you made my wolf insane. Simone's pulse sped. But you didn't. No. Why? Because you chose him. The answer came without hesitation. Not me. Something inside Simone shifted painfully. Tae-jun looked at her with a kind of honesty she'd rarely seen from him. You were happy. Or you thought you were. What right did I have to destroy that because my wolf recognized something yours didn't? Then Marcus and I broke up. Yes. And you still said nothing. You weren't looking for someone else. You could have asked. You told me you were done dating. I say a lot of shit. I noticed. Despite herself, Simone smiled. It disappeared quickly. So you just planned to wait forever? Tae-jun didn't answer. Her stomach tightened. Oh my God. I didn't have a plan. You would have. I don't know. You would have watched me go the rest of my life thinking I didn't have a mate? His silence lasted too long. Simone's eyes burned again. Answer me. I don't know. That hurt worse than if he'd said yes. Because she believed him. He genuinely didn't know what he would have done. Simone pushed herself off the bed. The bond reacted immediately to her movement toward him. Her wolf wanted closer. She stopped halfway across the room. You had no right. I know. I deserve to know something that big about myself. Yes. And you don't get to decide that your reasons magically make this okay. I know. She stared at him in disbelief. Would you stop fucking agreeing with me? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Her voice broke through the quiet room. Tae-jun stayed exactly where he was. Simone pressed both hands against her face. This is insane. I know. She pointed at him without looking. Say it again and I'll throw something. His mouth closed. Good. Simone paced toward the window. The lake beyond the glass was black beneath the moon. She could still feel him. Behind her. Waiting. The bond pulled softly. Not commanding. Just there. She hated how comforting his presence remained even while she wanted to scream at him. Did you know this would happen this weekend? No. She turned. Tae-jun answered immediately this time. No. You agreed really fucking fast. I did. Why? His gaze darkened. You know why. Say it. Tae-jun's jaw tightened. Simone waited. Finally, he said. Because you asked me to pretend you were mine. Heat moved straight through her stomach. Unhelpful. Very fucking unhelpful. His voice remained controlled, but only barely. I have spent 3 years making sure you never felt anything from me you hadn't asked for. Then you sat in your office and told me you wanted me to spend a weekend holding you. Simone swallowed. Touching you. Another beat. Sleeping near you. Her wolf pushed forward. Tae-jun noticed. His nostrils flared. He looked away immediately. That small act of restraint somehow affected Simone more than everything he'd just said. So yes, he continued. I agreed quickly. Because you hoped my wolf would wake up. He hesitated. Yes. Anger flared again. There it is. Simone. So you did know. I hope. You knew. There was a possibility. Yes. And you didn't tell me. No. She laughed bitterly. Jesus, Tae-jun. I wasn't trying to force recognition. How is bringing your scent around me 24 hours a day and touching me constantly not trying? His eyes flashed. You asked me to. The room went still. Simone recoiled slightly. Tae-jun immediately closed his eyes. That came out wrong. No. It didn't. It did. You wanted the opportunity. Yes. And you took it. Yes. She stared at him. He was done hiding now. Maybe that was better. Maybe it made everything worse. I hoped you would recognize me, he said quietly. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Simone said nothing. But I also hoped something else. What? His gaze met hers. That you would want me before you did. Her breath caught. Tae-jun stepped closer. Only one step. Enough for the bond to brighten between them. He stopped there. I wanted to know whether Simone wanted me. Not his mate. Not his Luna. Not fate. Her. I wanted you to kiss me because you wanted to kiss me. I wanted you to lean into me because you liked being close. I wanted you to get jealous or laugh or touch me because those things belonged to you. His voice roughened. I wanted one thing fate didn't hand me. Simone could barely breathe. You. Silence pressed between them. Her anger was still there. So was the hurt. But now something else sat beside both of them. Understanding. And that was inconvenient as hell. Simone turned away. I need space. The words came quietly. Everything in Tae-jun changed. Not visibly at first. Then his wolf pressed hard enough beneath his skin that she felt it through the bond. A sharp, instinctive refusal. His eyes closed. When they opened, the wolf was gone. Okay. Simone looked back. That's it. What else should I say? She didn't know. Maybe she'd expected an argument. Maybe some part of her expected the alpha everyone respected to take over. To tell her the bond mattered more. To tell her she was his, and therefore the conversation was finished. Instead, Tae-jun reached for his watch. He picked it up from the dresser. I'll sleep downstairs. Her wolf reacted instantly. Simone pressed a hand against her stomach. You don't have to. You asked for space. I meant. She stopped. What had she meant? Space emotionally? Physically? A few feet? A few hours? The bond made every option feel wrong. Tae-jun fastened his watch. Simone. She looked at him. Recognition doesn't change anything. Her brow furrowed. It changes a lot. Not this. He gestured subtly between them. You don't owe me anything because your wolf finally recognized mine. She stared. I've waited 3 years. Pain flickered across his face. I can wait longer. Her chest tightened. And if I don't choose this? Question hurt to say. It hurt him to hear. She felt that through the bond too. Tae-jun's expression didn't change. Then you don't. Your wolf would accept that. No. The honesty startled her. My wolf would hate it. A faint glow moved through his eyes. So would I. Then it disappeared. But we'd live with it. Simone's throat tightened. You'd just let me go. Tae-jun was quiet. No. She frowned. I'd still be your alpha. Your friend if you wanted me to be. I'd still care about you. His voice lowered. But I would never use this bond to make you stay. That silenced her. For the first time since the kiss, her wolf settled. Not because he was close. Because something about the words satisfied it. Tae-jun picked up a pillow. I'll go downstairs. Simone didn't stop him this time. He reached the door. His hand rested on the knob. Then he looked back. For just a second, the control disappeared. She saw how much leaving cost him. His wolf didn't want distance. Neither did hers. Tae-jun opened the door anyway. Good night, Simone. The door closed quietly behind him. Her wolf immediately surged. Simone gripped the edge of the dresser. The bond stretched. Tae-jun moved down the hall. Farther. Down the stairs. Farther. Every step made something inside her more restless. She'd asked for space. Now she had it. She fucking hated it. Morning came slowly. Simone hadn't slept more than 2 hours. By 6:30 she gave up. She showered, dressed, and went downstairs hoping coffee would either fix her life or at least make her functional enough to endure it. The kitchen was empty. No Tae-jun. Her wolf immediately noticed. Simone ignored it. She made coffee. Too much cream. She drank it anyway. Marcus found her on the patio 30 minutes later. He stopped when he saw her face. Damn. Simone looked over her mug. Good morning to you too. You look terrible. Thank you. Relationship trouble? She almost laughed. You have impeccable timing. Marcus sat across from her. For what it's worth, I wasn't trying to create a problem yesterday. I know. I meant what I said, but I wasn't trying to disrespect what you have with him. Simone looked toward the lake. What exactly did she have with Tae-jun? A friendship. A fake relationship. A newly awakened mate bond. 3 years of missing information. A kiss she still felt every time she closed her eyes. It's complicated. Marcus nodded. Most worthwhile things are. Simone gave him a skeptical look. When did you get philosophical? Therapy. She laughed despite herself. Good for you. It was very humbling. I bet. Marcus grinned. The laughter faded naturally. He leaned back. He loves you. Simone went still. What? Marcus shrugged. I'm not blind. You barely know him. I know men. That's not the flex you think it is. He laughed. I'm serious. Simone looked away. Marcus continued. The way he watches you. That's not new. Her gaze snapped back. What do you mean? When we were together, I noticed. Simone's stomach dropped. You noticed Tae-jun watching me? Sometimes. Why didn't you say anything? Marcus looked confused. Because he never crossed a line. That landed somewhere deep. Marcus shrugged. I actually wondered if I was imagining it. The man barely looked at you when I was around. Because Tae-jun had been controlling himself. Simone stared into her coffee. He respected us, Marcus said. More than I probably would have if I wanted somebody that badly. Simone's chest tightened. Marcus studied her. Whatever happened between you two, I'm guessing the answer isn't me. No. Good. She frowned. Good. I don't need Alpha Kong blaming me for the breakup of whatever terrifying situation you two have going on. Simone laughed. Marcus smiled. Then his expression softened. You okay? I don't know. Then figure out what you know. She looked at him. That's annoyingly reasonable. Therapy. Shut up. He laughed and stood. His hand squeezed her shoulder briefly as he passed. Friendly. Nothing else. This time Simone's wolf barely noticed. Because somewhere inside the house, Tae-jun moved. She felt him. Her entire body responded. Simone closed her eyes. Fuck. She avoided Tae-jun for most of the morning. Or tried to. The bond made actual avoidance nearly impossible. She knew when he was in the kitchen, when he moved toward the dock, when he returned to the house. Tae-jun gave her exactly what she'd asked for. He didn't seek her out, touch her, hover, or even look at her for too long. By lunchtime, Simone wanted to scream. She'd spent the entire weekend irritated because he wouldn't stop touching her. Now he wasn't touching her at all. Her wolf was furious. Simone wasn't doing much better. Denise cornered her near the stairs. What's wrong? Nothing. Don't lie to me in my own rental. You don't own this house. I paid the deposit. Not the same thing. Denise folded her arms. Where's Tae-jun? I don't know. That was a lie. Back patio. Near the grill. Talking to somebody. Her wolf knew. Denise's eyes narrowed. You two fight. Simone rubbed her temple. Aunt Denise. That means yes. We're fine. Hom. Denise looked toward the patio doors. Then back at Simone. He's leaving. Simone froze. What? Saw him putting his bag in the SUV. Her heart dropped. The Bond flared with sudden alarm. Why? Denise gave her a look. I assumed you'd know. Simone was already moving. She crossed the living room, pushed through the patio doors, and headed around the side of the house. Tae-jun stood beside the SUV. His suitcase was in the back. He was speaking quietly on his phone. Simone stopped before he saw her. Every part of her wolf strained toward him. Leave. The idea felt unbearable. Not because fate said so. She refused to believe that was all of it. Tae-jun ended the call. He turned. Saw her. For a moment neither moved. Then his expression settled into polite restraint. That pissed her off immediately. You're leaving. I thought it would be easier. For who? You. Did I ask you to leave? No. You asked for space. I asked for space, not a fucking interstate. A faint smile nearly appeared. He suppressed it. Simone folded her arms. Where are you going? Home. Why? Tae-jun looked at her for a long moment. Because your wolf just recognized me. Her anger faded slightly. And being near me is making it harder for you to think. She opened her mouth. He continued. I can feel it too. Simone's throat tightened. The Bond wants proximity. Touch. Reassurance. He looked away toward the lake. If I stay beside you while you're trying to decide whether you actually want me, how are you supposed to know what's instinct and what's choice? She had no answer. Tae-jun reached for the rear hatch. I'm giving you the thing I should have given you 3 years ago. Simone looked at him. Information. Control. That hurt, because she knew exactly what he meant. Tae-jun closed the SUV. His eyes returned to hers. I'll see you Monday. Monday. Their original finish line. The weekend ends. Everything goes back to normal. Except nothing could ever be normal again. He walked past her. Not touching. Not brushing her arm. Nothing. Simone's wolf surged after him so hard she nearly turned. She forced herself to stay still. Tae-jun reached the patio, then disappeared inside. Simone remained beside the SUV. Her heart hurt. The Bond hurt. But beneath all of that sat something quieter. Memory. Tae-jun showing up at her office with coffee before she ever knew. Tae-jun remembering the restaurant she liked. Tae-jun sitting beside her after Marcus broke up with her, and never once using the opportunity to move closer. Tae-jun arguing with a contractor who'd tried to talk over her in a meeting, not because she needed rescuing, but because the man had been disrespectful. Tae-jun sending food to her house the week she had the flu. Tae-jun attending her promotion dinner, even though he'd flown back from Denver that afternoon. 3 years. The Bond hadn't built any of that. The Bond hadn't created the jokes, the trust, the friendship. It hadn't made her call Tae-jun when she needed somebody at midnight after a project went sideways. It hadn't made her ask him to come to the reunion. And it hadn't made her kiss him. Not completely. She had wanted him before recognition. That truth settled slowly. Her wolf hadn't pushed her across that room. Simone had walked. Her wolf hadn't put her hand against his chest. Simone had. Her wolf hadn't said, I'm not pretending. She had. Simone stared toward the house. Fuck. She'd been asking herself the wrong question. Not how much of this was the Bond. How much of it existed before she knew the Bond was there. The answer was suddenly terrifyingly obvious. A lot. Maybe more than she'd ever allowed herself to see. And Tae-jun. Stubborn, secretive, infuriating Kang Tae-jun. Had apparently spent years waiting for her to notice without ever demanding that she did. Simone looked toward the SUV. His suitcase waited in the back. He really intended to leave. Her wolf growled. Simone almost laughed. Yeah, she murmured. For once we agree. Simone found Tae-jun in the kitchen. Of course she did. He was standing at the island drinking coffee, like he hadn't just packed his suitcase, dismantled her emotional equilibrium, and apparently decided to leave before lunch. Denise was nowhere in sight. Thank God. Simone stopped in the doorway. Tae-jun looked up. His expression changed almost immediately. Not dramatically. Just enough. You're still here. He glanced toward the clock. For another 5 minutes. Simone walked farther into the room. I need longer. Tae-jun set the coffee down. Something careful entered his posture. Okay. She hated how patient he was being. It made it much harder to stay mad. I've been thinking. I assumed. Don't. His mouth twitched. Sorry. No, you're not. No. There he was. For 1 second. Her Tae-jun. The one she'd known before this weekend blew up every category she'd ever put him in. Simone folded her arms. I still think what you did was wrong. His expression sobered. I know. Keeping something that big from me for 3 years? I know. And I'm still pissed. You should be. She narrowed her eyes. You're doing it again. Agreeing. Yes. Would you prefer I argue? No. Then I'm trapped. Simone fought a smile. Failed. Barely. Tae-jun saw it. The tension in his shoulders eased a fraction. That tiny reaction almost wrecked her. She took a breath. I don't know what parts of this are the bond. Tae-jun went very still. Simone continued before fear could stop her. I don't know if the reason your scent makes me crazy is supernatural. It probably is. His eyes darkened. Simone. I'm making a point. Please do. She ignored the edge in his voice. I don't know if the reason my wolf throws a fit every time you walk away is the bond. Probably. And I don't know if this. She gestured helplessly between them. Is bigger now because my wolf finally woke up. Tae-jun said nothing. But I know what happened before that. His gaze sharpened. Simone walked closer. Not close enough to touch him yet. Close enough that she could smell him. Of course. Her wolf immediately settled. Annoying bitch. I know I trusted you before I knew. Tae-jun's face changed. I know you were the person I called when the Fremont project nearly collapsed. You were furious. I was homicidal. That too. I know you remembered my coffee before any of this happened. You've been drinking the same thing for years. That is not the point. Seems relevant. She gave him a look. He shut up. Progress. I know you sat with me after Marcus and I broke up. Tae-jun looked away. You didn't make a move. No. You didn't even say anything bad about him. I said his shoes were ugly. Simone blinked. What? They were. She laughed despite herself. You waited 3 years to tell me that. I was protecting your feelings. His shoes were not that bad. They were tragic. Simone shook her head. Focus. I am. No, you're not. You're smiling. You're irritating. Also true. The smile faded slowly. Simone looked at him. Really looked. You're the person who knows when I'm lying. Tae-jun's expression softened. The person who knows when I'm tired before I admit it. He said nothing. The person who remembered I hate lilies. A faint smile. They smell terrible. They do. And the person I asked to come here. That landed. Tae-jun's gaze stayed on hers. I could have asked someone else. His jaw tightened. I didn't. Simone stepped closer. I asked you. The bond brightened. Not enough to take over. Enough to make the truth feel impossible to avoid. And I kissed you before I knew. Tae-jun stopped breathing. Simone's heart pounded. Her own words scared her more than his silence. I walked across that room because I wanted you. His eyes flashed. Not alpha. Not fully wolf. Something between. Simone. No. She shook her head. You don't get to make this easier for me by warning me off again. I'm not. You are. Tae-jun looked away. She stepped closer until only a few inches remained. You asked me yesterday if I was pretending. His gaze returned. I'm not. That word settled between them. Different now. He didn't move. Simone could see how much it cost him not to. Her wolf pressed forward. She ignored the instinct long enough to make sure the next words were hers. I don't choose you because you're my mate. Tae-jun's expression tightened. I choose you because you're Tae-jun. Silence. Then she added, unfortunately. He stared at her. Simone waited. Nothing. Her brow furrowed. Are you going to say something? Tae-jun's voice came rough. I'm trying very hard not to ruin this. That made her laugh. By doing what? Picking you up. Her laughter disappeared. Oh! His eyes dropped to her mouth. Among other things. Heat climbed her neck. Good. That was more like it. Simone stepped into him. Tae-jun's hands flexed at his sides. Still waiting. Still leaving the decision with her. She hated and loved him for that in equal measure. So what happens now? She asked. Whatever you want. That's suspiciously vague. It's intentionally vague. Why? 'Cause you've had enough decisions made for you. That pulled the humor out of her. Simone reached for his hand. Tae-jun looked down as she laced their fingers together. His thumb brushed hers. The same motion from her office. It felt completely different now. Then I want you to stay. His eyes lifted. At the reunion? Don't get cute. I need clarity. You are staying. Something deep and almost feral moved through his expression. Okay. And you are going to court me. One eyebrow rose. Court you. Properly. Define properly. Simone smiled. You figure it out. That's dangerous. I learned from you. A slow smile appeared. God. That smile. She'd seen it 1,000 times. Apparently she'd been wasting years of her life, not noticing how devastating it was. And, Simone continued, you are going to earn back the part of my trust you damaged. His smile faded. I will. No excuses. None. No alpha bullshit. Define. Don't. He nodded. Understood. And if you ever keep something like this from me again, you'll kill me. No. Simone smiled sweetly. I'll tell Aunt Denise. Tae-jun went pale. Simone laughed. That's cruel. Yeah, I know. He finally laughed too. The sound loosened something inside her. She'd missed it. She'd missed him. And he'd only been avoiding her for half a day. That was probably not encouraging. One more thing, Tae-jun said. Simone narrowed her eyes. What? His expression turned serious. The bond. She waited. If you want time before accepting it fully, I'll give you that. Simone frowned. Isn't it already accepted? Recognition isn't the same as claiming. There it was. The supernatural part she deliberately avoided thinking about. Tae-jun continued. We know what we are. That doesn't mean anything else happens automatically. Good. His brow lifted. Good. Yes. Simone squeezed his hand. I don't want some magical shortcut. Something warm moved through his eyes. Neither do I. I want the relationship. So do I. I want dates. Obviously. I want you to annoy me. I can commit to that. You already have. His thumb moved across her hand. And when we're ready for everything else, we'll decide together. Tae-jun stared at her. For a moment, Simone saw the alpha disappear completely. Saw only the man who had waited years for something he could never demand. Together, he said. Her wolf settled. So did Simone. Good. Tae-jun's gaze moved to their joined hands. Then back to her face. Can I kiss you? Simone blinked. You seriously just asked me that? Yes. The man who spent all weekend with his hand on my ass is asking permission now? It was your hip. It migrated. It was a complicated weekend. She laughed. Tae-jun waited. That stopped her. He was actually waiting for the answer. Simone softened. Yes. Control vanished from his face. Tae-jun pulled her against him. Not roughly. Not gently either. Exactly enough. His hand came around her waist, and Simone had just enough time to inhale before his mouth covered hers. The bond surged. Her wolf pressed toward his. This time Simone didn't panic. She felt it, accepted the sensation. But beneath the supernatural certainty was everything else. The warmth of his mouth. The way his hand spread across her back. The low sound he made when she curled her fingers into his shirt. The familiar shape of him. Tae-jun. Her friend. Her impossible fake boyfriend. Her very real mate. Her choice. When they finally separated, Simone rested her forehead against his chest. His arms remained around her. You're still an asshole. I know. And I'm still mad at you. I know. Stop saying you know. I'll try. She looked up. You won't. No. Simone smiled. Okay. Tae-jun brushed a curl away from her face. Okay. Okay. Something eased through him so deeply she felt it through the bond. His forehead lowered to hers. For a moment neither spoke. Then Denise screamed from the hallway. I knew it. Simone jumped. Tae-jun closed his eyes. No. Simone slowly turned. Aunt Denise stood in the doorway wearing an expression of pure vindication. One hand covered her mouth. The other pointed at them. Oh my God. Aunt Denise. You two made up. Simone stared. Made up. Sure. Let's go with that. Denise's gaze dropped to their joined bodies. Then to Tae-jun's hand around Simone's waist. Then to Simone's face. Her eyes narrowed. Wait. Simone immediately knew this was about to get worse. Why do you smell different? Fuck. Tae-jun went silent. Denise's mouth fell open. Her eyes widened. No. Simone sight. Aunt Denise. No. Please don't. You're mates. The entire house went quiet. Somewhere upstairs, a door opened. Simone closed her eyes. I hate my life. Tae-jun's chest moved against her. He was laughing. The bastard. Denise rushed into the kitchen. When did this happen? Last night. You've been dating 6 months and you just recognized. Tae-jun wisely kept his mouth shut. Simone looked at him. He looked at her. Absolutely not. She was not explaining asymmetric mate recognition in a kitchen full of approaching relatives. Denise gasped. Oh my God. Wait. Did you know? Tae-jun froze. Simone's eyes narrowed. He glanced at her. She smiled. Slowly. Sweetly. Tae-jun visibly reconsidered his life choices. Denise looked between them. Oh, there's a story. Simone slipped out of Tae-jun's arms. There is. His eyes widened. Simone. You've known Aunt Denise longer than I have, Denise said to him. You should know not to keep secrets. Simone looked at Tae-jun. Exactly. He stared at her. She smiled. His expression said betrayal. She felt no sympathy whatsoever. Have fun. Simone kissed his cheek and walked out of the kitchen. Behind her, Denise immediately began. Now, Tae-jun, start from the beginning. Simone made it 5 steps down the hallway before she started laughing. Tae-jun's voice carried after her. Simone. She kept walking. Love you too. The words escaped before she thought about them. Her feet stopped. Behind her. Silence. Oh. Fuck. Simone slowly turned. Tae-jun stood at the kitchen entrance. Denise had apparently vanished into another dimension out of respect for the moment. His expression had gone completely still. Simone's heart started racing. She opened her mouth. Tae-jun spoke first. Don't. Her stomach dropped. Then he smiled. Don't take it back. Simone stared. I wasn't going to. The words came softer this time. Tae-jun walked toward her. Slowly. He stopped in front of her. Say it again. She rolled her eyes because the alternative was crying and she refused to do that in a hallway. You are very demanding for a man who's already in trouble. Simone. She looked at him. And this time there was no confusion. No family. No fake relationship. No newly awakened instinct making the choice for her. Just the man. I love you. Tae-jun closed his eyes. The bond warmed. When he opened them again, the look there made her breath catch. I've loved you for 3 years. Simone's eyes burned. Yeah, well. She sniffed. You're slow. A laugh broke out of him. He pulled her into his arms. Simone buried her face against his chest. You could have saved us a lot of trouble. I know. She pinched him. Ow! I said stop saying that. Right. He kissed the top of her head. Simone smiled against his shirt. For the first time in a very long time, her wolf wasn't searching for anything. Neither was she. Marcus found them later near the dock. Simone sat on the railing while Tae-jun stood between her knees, one hand resting loosely at her waist as they talked. Marcus stopped several feet away. His eyes moved between them. Then he smiled. So that's real now. Simone looked at Tae-jun. Apparently. Tae-jun's thumb moved once against her side. Very. Marcus laughed. Good. He stepped forward and offered Tae-jun his hand. Tae-jun looked at it. Simone slapped his shoulder. Behave. Tae-jun took Marcus's hand. Marcus grinned. For the record, I wasn't trying to steal her. I know. Simone groaned. Not you too. Marcus looked confused. Inside joke. Tae-jun's expression remained completely serious. You touched her a lot for someone who wasn't trying. Simone covered her face. Marcus burst out laughing. There he is. Tae-jun frowned. Who? That's what I was waiting for. Simone peeked between her fingers. What? Marcus pointed at Tae-jun. The jealous boyfriend. Mate, Tae-jun corrected. Simone's head snapped toward him. Marcus laughed even harder. Tae-jun looked entirely unashamed. Simone shook her head. This man is going to be insufferable. Marcus started walking away. Good luck. I don't need luck. Tae-jun's arm came around Simone's waist. Marcus glanced back. You definitely do. Simone laughed. Tae-jun looked down at her. What? Nothing. You're laughing at me. Constantly. Unfortunate. Get used to it. His gaze softened. I plan to. For months later, Simone arrived at another Ellis family, gathering with Tae-jun's hand resting at the small of her back. The gesture wasn't part of a performance anymore. It had become habit. So had his coffee appearing beside hers before she asked. So had Simone leaving shoes at his house. So had Tae-jun pretending to be irritated when half of her bathroom products migrated into his. They hadn't rushed. That surprised people. Mostly Denise. Especially Denise. Tae-jun had courted her exactly as promised. Dinner dates. Weekend trips. Quiet nights at home. Flowers that were never lilies. Conversations they'd probably should have had years earlier. And arguments. Real ones. Because choosing each other hadn't magically made either of them less stubborn. Their wolves had accepted the bond easily. Simone and Tae-jun had done the more important work. They'd built the relationship around it. The backyard was crowded when they arrived. Music. Food. Family. Denise intercepted them within 30 seconds. Finally. We're 10 minutes early, Simone said. That's late when I miss you. You saw me Tuesday. Exactly. Denise hugged her anyway. Then Tae-jun. Then looked at his hand resting at Simone's waist, and smiled in a way Simone deeply distrusted. What? Nothing. That face is never nothing. Denise walked away. Simone shook her head. She's planning something. Tae-jun handed her a drink. Probably. Cousin passed them carrying a tray. She grinned at Simone. So are you bringing a fake boyfriend to the next reunion too? Simone stared. Across the yard, Denise started laughing. Of course. Simone turned slowly toward Tae-jun. His expression remained perfectly calm. Absolutely not. He raised a brow. Simone slipped an arm around his waist. Last time I hired one, the man refused to leave. Tae-jun looked down at her, then pulled her closer. You should have read the terms of the agreement. Simone laughed. You never gave me terms. I offered parameters. You were trying to get into my room. It worked. Her mouth fell open. Tae-jun smiled. That rare, devastating smile she'd somehow spent years pretending didn't affect her. Simone shook her head. You know what? I changed my mind. About. I should have left you at home. No. No. His arm tightened around her. Their wolves stirred together beneath the easy warmth of the bond. No. Simone laughed. Possessive. Accurate as fuck. She leaned into him. The old Simone might have argued just for sport. This Simone knew something she hadn't known then. There was a difference between belonging to someone and belonging with them. Fate had identified Tae-jun first. Her wolf had eventually caught up. But neither of those things had made the decision that mattered. Simone had. And she would choose him in every lifetime. She lifted her face. Tae-jun kissed her like his life depended on it, and with the laughter of her family in the distance behind them. No pretending. No audience required. Just them. Exactly where they had chosen to be. And that, Lairmates, is where we're leaving Simone and Tae-jun. What started as one fake boyfriend, one family reunion, and a plan to keep everybody out of Simone's business turned into something neither of them could keep pretending about. Now I need to hear from y'all. Tae-jun knew Simone was his mate for 3 whole years and never told her. He believed he was protecting her right to choose her own life. But Simone had to find out the truth after her wolf finally recognized him. So tell me, did Tae-jun do the right thing by staying quiet, or should he have told Simone the truth from the beginning? And don't give me the safe answer. I want to know what you would have done if you were Simone. Are we forgiving that man? Or is Tae-jun spending a little more time suffering first? Because 3 years is a long damn time, sir. Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you enjoyed Simone and Tae-jun's story, like the video and subscribe to Luna's Lair, because there are plenty more love stories and plenty more questionable decisions waiting inside this lair. Until next time, Lairmates. Stay curious, stay a little dangerous, and never trust a fake relationship to stay fake. I'll see you in the next story.